All right, day 2. This is sitting at about 2.5 hours. Chines are on. Our height is good at 16.5 inches from the floor, not the floor, but underneath the hull to the bottom of here. They want 16.5 inches. Just measured that, we are good. I said before that this was only a 1/4 inch gap, but it's actually 1/2 inch. So the next step is to put the transom on and then the sides. I'm also gonna put the stringers in too, get them all tacked. But the first step, I'm going to put the transom on. Here we go. Alrighty, she's tacked in, flush with the outside on both sides. I got one side on, then I had to strap it to, bottom of the hull was sticking out a good 1/4. So strapped it, sucked it in a bit too much, so I used a little pipe clamp just to separate, push there, and then they gave me flush with the outside. Always use a 90-degree brace. And then what I've also found is if you are doing a bulkhead and an engine lid, you got to make sure your top is like dead square, or else these lids that come from Jetstream, they're square. So if you're not square, they're not going to fit. Another thing you can do is either double check the sides of your gunnels with your transom, make sure that's square. Another thing you can do is add another 90-degree brace right here and one on that side, just to help you out with that fitment. Because yeah, even though there is a brace there, this still wobbles back and forth when you're going to go and fit your the sides on. So that being said, I'm gonna do a quick layout for the stringers and make sure they're in the right spots, tack them down, and then I'm gonna get the sides on. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention before, every weld surface I do gets wire wheeled, or wire brushed for that matter, and instead of running a brush over it and a lot of elbow grease, I got a stainless steel wire wheel on a drill. This thing works amazing, and it takes the oxide off like extremely fast. If you want a cleaner, deeper, just more structural weld in general, I suggest wire wheeling. I pre-do all the stringers. I'm gonna stitch it at 4 inches every 5 inches. So 4-inch stitch, space 5 inches, 4-inch stitch, space for 5 inches, all the way down both sides. And once I place this in the boat, I'll mark it out on the bottom of the hull, just transfer the pen marks, and then wire wheel the boat. And it doesn't take long with the wheel on the drill. So a lot of people skip this step, but it's just good practice. So let's get to it. Okay, I've got all the layout for the stringers done. Everything's been wire wheeled, exactly where the welds are gonna go, so everything will be nice and clean. Before I throw the stringers in, I threw a couple extra braces on here. I'm gonna have to weld that seam underneath the stringer, each one. I'm only gonna do that section, not the whole way across, because I don't wanna pour a bunch of heat into it before I get the sides on. All right, let's slap her together. screws are all tacked in, minus the front. I've got quite a bit of a gap. I'm not so worried about the front. I can actually press down on that. At least kneel or stand on it and get it down. But just behind that, I can't get that down. So I've seen other guys just get a couple people to stand on it, or what you can also do is get a bottle jack and a piece of wood and press off the ceiling and push the hull down. I don't have a second guy, so that's the route I'm gonna take right now. And would you look at that little stuff jammed underneath, little bottle jack, 2x4 to the ceiling, and close it up tight. And then that I can just step on, and it's good to go. Do the rest. Got her back on the table. I got a lift on the sides here. And yeah, it's gonna be going in pretty quick. First things first, you want to line up this very bottom edge with the side of the back there, and you want to have an open groove weld. So I'll show you what that looks like. Basically, you're gonna want this inside edge meeting that inside edge. That way you have a full pen weld when you get going, and then you line up the tops. First things first though, I have to weld out this section of the chine and just grind her a little flush. Just to prep it for this side piece. Do that on both sides and get going. All right.